Good evening, everyone. This is Mike O'Malley here with the Hurricane Outlook and discussion for June 29th, 2022, around 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We are mainly talking about potential tropical cyclone 2 this evening and what impacts it will be bringing to portions of Central America over the next couple of days. So let's go and jump straight into everything. Looking at the overall cone and forecast track for potential tropical cyclone 2, we notice that, again, there is now a hurricane watch in effect for portions of Central America and Nicaragua. This is expected to be moving generally off towards the north and west here, and then eventually moving off towards kind of the south and west, as a big ridge of high pressure to the north is generally steering the storm. So we have tropical storm and hurricane watches now in effect for portions of Central America and Costa Rica, as this is now expected to be near or at hurricane intensity as it is making landfall. And then generally speaking, this is expected to maintain its overall intensity as it crosses through Central America and then emerge into the East Pacific Basin, where additional intensification will be likely. And this is expected to become a hurricane once again in the East Pacific Basin as well. Looking at the visible satellite today and this evening, we noticed that not much has changed since earlier this morning when the update was published, when the video update this morning was published. Not much has really changed. We're still noticing some banding overall, so some signs that organizational trends have certainly at least continued, if not remained the same. Expecting that a low-level circulation is forming somewhere within this vicinity, a little bit displaced from the convection. But what we notice is that we certainly have seen generally some southerly winds here, indicating, for the most part, that we do have the low-level circulation beginning to form. The hurricane reconnaissance aircraft that was in there from earlier this afternoon was not able to get that close to land, but did indicate that there are at least 45 to 50 knot winds up here. Now, some of this is trade wind, but mostly the thunderstorms in this region are generally producing about 40 to 50 knot winds, so certainly tropical storm force winds over here. Looking at the HWRF forecast, this is the 12Z HWRF, and this is the upper level wind, so the 200 millibar wind flow, looking basically at what the wind pattern is going to be look like for intensification. Generally speaking, right now we have some easterly shear, but it's not much, probably about 5 knots or so, and that's generally caused by this displaced anticyclone to the north, causing a little bit of shear on the backside here, but not too much. And over the next couple of days, this will eventually line itself under more favorable conditions. Pretty healthy outflow pattern here by Friday morning. This is about 2 a.m. The one thing that's going to hinder this from strengthening significantly is time over water. It's going to have very limited time because this is going to be moving relatively quickly, probably about 15 to 20 miles per hour through here. And that will certainly limit the amount of time that it takes to be able to intensify. Either way here, the HWRF forecast does call explicitly for a hurricane to be making landfall here somewhere in Central America by late Friday evening into early Saturday morning. And eventually this will then cross back over into the East Pacific Basin and potentially ride very close to the coast here. So we'll have to talk about more coastal impacts, at least on the East Pacific side, over the next couple of days. So generally speaking, what to expect here for portions of Central America? Well, here in the wind department, sustained wind, generally speaking, because this will be a very small system, there is not a very widespread wind effect with this. But generally speaking, for portions of Central America and Costa Rica, sustained winds, especially right near the coast and up to the point of landfall here, will generally be on the order of about 60 to 80 miles per hour here right along the coast. And eventually, as you kind of get further away from the landfall point, maximum sustained winds drop off to about 30 to 40 miles per hour the further inland you certainly go. Wind gusts as well will be quite high as well. We suspect that there could be at least 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts as this storm begins to make landfall here. And again, wind gusts could extend well beyond that point as well. It's about 40 to 45, maybe even 50 miles per hour as we head into the East Pacific side of everything. Looking at the rainfall forecast, again, because this is a very small system, the overall core impacts are going to be relatively limited. Generally speaking, looking at the overall forecast, we expect about 4 to 6 inches of rainfall generally within this area as the core makes landfall. Again, this number will vary, and localized amounts of 6 to 8 inches are certainly possible, but generally in the widespread look of everything, about 4 to 6 inches with some potential for isolated 6 to 8 inches, especially the closer to the landfall point you get. All right. So that being said, just make sure to kind of go through your hurricane preparedness plans, make sure to take care of everything, get extra medication, get food, water, and certainly this is not going to be a major hurricane, but it still will provide some pretty significant impacts. It is a serious storm, and that is something that you need to take into consideration. All right. That being said, hope you have a great rest of your evening. Of course, this is Michael O'Malley. I'll talk to you guys again some more tomorrow.